All praises to the Most High. This is Elliot. Pressure is being applied, and I wanted to talk about the pressure that a lot of us are under nowadays because of the world literally coming to a close. And the pressure that I'm going to focus in on the most right now is financial pressure. Financial pressure can cause people, well, imagine this. This is something you probably see more often. When you're hungry, do you know that sometimes you have a little bit of an attitude? Or if you're around somebody else that's hungry and you know that they may have a short temper or a short fuse and really they just need to get some food in their stomach and they might be a little bit more peaceful. Well, this is happening with finances, with money. I'm noticing that there are a lot of people in this world, and in particular the United States, that are feeling the pressure of the rising costs and the struggle that it takes in order to earn, to make a living, to support a family, because the jobs aren't cutting it. America is no longer the same type of place where it was vibrant and thriving, and like the era of the 80s and the 90s and 70s and even the early 2000s. Slowly but surely, a lot of the things that have been produced have been outsourced, and the market and the industries that have been so supportive to American families are no longer there. Not to mention the American dollar losing its value and the plan. So I'll touch on the plan as we talk about this. Now, there's a lot of things I want to talk about, and basically I just wanted to let you know that you're going to come across a lot of different things out in this world that will try to distract you, try to get you off focus, try to get you off course, bait and switch, I'll put it that way, in order to literally catch you off guard, and then you look up and you realize that you have a huge pile of debt, or you can no longer really make ends meet with the type of job that you had. And so let's talk about practical things to do. If there are there are a few, but most importantly, the spiritual thing that you must do is know that the word says that you've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. And that also that God will provide all things. Matthew 6:33. He will provide all things for those who are called according to his purpose. So let's just focus in on a few things. First of all, the distractions. There's so many things going on, so many different things in the media, social media, whatever, that can just get you off focus and not really pay attention on the main thing. And that is the Most High, and then how we're supposed to operate in these last days. And of course, we're starting to see, like, for example, during the time where the government seemed to be giving out so much free money to people, and then all of a sudden they just vacuumed it up, took it right away. And they really took it away way before at this point. But people were they got you used to having the safety net of the government just infusing more and more money into the economy through the forms of stimulus, through the forms of loans, through the forms of low interest rates. And then it comes down to the point where people got so used to that and thought that, well, I can continue to do this, that, and the other, and there won't be any kind of consequence. I'll just always have the benefit of the government providing for me. Well, I hope you know that if it looked too good to be true, it probably was, and it was. So a lot of people, overextended themselves, or they just got comfortable. And, there was a time where people quit working And I do know, I feel that. I know people have worked so hard and so long, and they were just like, you know what, I'm just going to take a break. I don't even want to work this job. The struggle is real. But look, a lot of that time, a lot of the things that were going on, you have to realize that you have to continue to do what the Most High has called you to do in order to earn and to stay in balance with all the stuff going on. There was so much, even on social media, people were just throwing money at content creators. They were liking and subscribing because there's so many people were at home and building up channels. And of course, the algorithm was doing that as well, sending money out here, sending money out there. But now things have come down because there's not as much to give. There's not as much to share. So how are we going to pay attention to what's going on and see how we should navigate? In particular, I've noticed, personally, so many things going on with subscriptions, things that I pay not every month, but maybe, once a year, twice a year, things like that. Insurance being one of them. Insurance. So there's things that you don't even think about, not just with the rising food cost and the rising cost of consumer goods, but insurance is off the hook. My insurance has tripled in the past 2 years. Almost, it has tripled, more than tripled. And so, I was actually saw a video. I need to go back and look at it, where this guy had made, it reminded me that my insurance had gone up and gone up. And I was just kind of like grinning and bearing it because I'd been with the same insurance company for so long. Well, this guy made a video and I watched it, and he was frustrated that his insurance had just skyrocketed. And so he called like all the big insurance companies, and then he actually just went to a small insurance company and got it back down to what he was used to paying. And I'm going to look more into that. I mean, that's an example of some of the things that we could do during these times to really try to balance things out, to maneuver, to pivot, and to be able to balance all this pressure that they're putting on us. Because you have to have certain things that you have to survive. You have to have insurance to drive. You have to have food to live. You have to have shelter. The rising cost of housing. But, with the insurance thing, I have to kind of take that. Like I've always been comfortable with certain companies because I know that when it comes down to filing a claim, that they'll be there for you. And so you want to really check your reviews if you try to go with a no-name insurance company or something like that. But at this point, I'm almost thinking like, look, as long as it says I'm insured, I'll deal with that when the time comes. But no, use wisdom. Food is off the charts. Just to go out to eat, like, it's just like you really are feeling the pain at these restaurants and the grocery stores. But still, I mean, there was weird. It kind of fluctuates. Sometimes it's somewhat cheaper to eat out than preparing food at home. And other times it's definitely way cheaper to eat at home than eat out. But you just kind of have to figure out what your lifestyle, how many people you're feeding. Are you buying too much food at one time where you don't eat it? Does it spoil? Stuff like that. So, be mindful, pay close attention to the things that you're doing when you're eating out. Pay close attention to the things you do when you buy food at home, and see how that balances out, and really try your best to make things work. Because the pressure, I can't really explain to you how much things have been turned up in the food industry, but I'm sure you all feel this. Housing, of course, everybody needs a place to lay their head, and housing's gone up, and it's just getting people to the point where they're going to have to know and realize that, it's going to be a time where all this pressure was done for a reason. And what does it mean? Well, first thing we got to know is that if you're really planning and you're preparing and you're doing all the things that you need to do, this is all part of preparation, and that's getting your money right and being able to pivot and deal with how the pressure is coming at you. Because if you get to the point where you're just running up your credit cards or taking a loan here, borrowing from this person, borrowing from that person in order to survive, then you become slave. You become the borrower and not the lender. And when you become a slave, that means the master has control over you. And so when master speaks and master comes up with a solution in order for you to do something and to get your freedom, then you would have to almost be subject to the master. And we are subject to the Most High God. So let's make sure that we're doing all that we can to make sure that we don't have these strings attached to us as we continue to move throughout this world in these times. Because I'm telling you, like I said, that the illustration when somebody's irritable because, you know, they haven't eaten, you know, I'm guilty of that, but, you know, most of the time I can stay pretty cool. But I do know what it's like sometimes when you're just hungry and you're just like, you know what, you know, this you're short, right? So the same thing when money's funny and you need to get your money right, and then everything just seems to irk you because you got stress, you got added stress, you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay this, how you're going to pay that. There's things you want to do but you can't do. Maybe if you do have access to credit and you're running up your credit cards, maybe you ran those up to the point where you can't run them up anymore, or you run them to a point where you're getting your monthly bill in and you paid it, but it barely made any kind of difference, and the payment made no difference because you paid so much interest. So all these things are happening. Like I'm saying, with so many distractions going on in this world, we need to stay focused in on the things that are important. And today I'm focusing on the pressure that comes through finances. You know, these subscriptions, they say that in the future that everything's going to be subscription based, like even things in your car. Like, do you want heated seats in your car? Well, then you have to like subscribe for $10 and $20 a month for heated seats in your vehicle. Or if you want navigation, or if you want certain things like that, they're going to start building this in to the vehicle so that you literally have to subscribe for options. And if you want it, they'll turn it on. If you don't pay it, then they'll turn it off, which is crazy. So I'm noticing the whole model of pay once for everything that you want and everything that you need, and then that payment's done until it's obsolete, until the car is, you know, too old to keep going or something like that. Well, I'm noticing in applications, different apps I use on my phone, I've opened up 2 within the past few months, and all of a sudden they're talking about I can't use this app anymore. They want $10 a week or $200 a year just to use these apps. And some of these apps I use for productivity. And so I'm scurrying, trying to find different ways to do the same thing without paying extra. So you have all these subscriptions. You're paying subscription for Amazon. You pay a subscription for all different types of things. You know, all these things you pay for the year or stuff like that. You may have a couple things. I like YouTube, for example. I pay a subscription for. And, you know, these things add up. So look at your subscriptions and say, you know what, you may have like $600, $700, $800 or $1,000 or more dollars in subscriptions that you pay annually. Or if you don't pay annually, well, here's a hack, of course. If you know that you're going to use it, pay for it, you know, for the entire year, because there's the savings in that. But if you just need it just for one project real quick, you know, pay for it then. But don't get caught up in just paying a service over, you know, monthly when you know for sure that you're going to use it over a year. Take those savings if you can. But with everything starting to be subscription based, everybody has their hands out. Everybody's hitting you up at the restaurants. Everybody's hitting you up, you know, every time you go to just shopping for just clothes, goods, and things that you need for your home. All that stuff is just going up and up and up and up, and you're going to figure out, where can I run, where can I hide? Then they have you exactly where they want you. And get ready, because I don't know how soon it's coming, but there's going to be something. It's not just going to be turned off where all of a sudden we wake up one day and, oh, everything's just so affordable now. It doesn't work like that. Well, in this particular case, it's not. This is done for a reason. That's what I'm saying. This is done on purpose. Because when you really think about all these costs and why they're going up, economically, they'll just say because they injected so much money and they made the value of the dollar less and this and that. But of course that was planned. But at the same time, it didn't even really have to be like that. I remember growing up thinking that, you know, if everybody needed money, how come they can't just, how come you just can't have a money machine at home and just print your own money and that's the money you need and go buy stuff? And in economics that they taught you in school, it was like, well, you can't do that because that'll make supply less and demand higher, and then so many people will have this, that, and the other, so they can't keep up with, the demand for certain goods and services. But I'm starting to question that because now I've seen it. I saw, back in a few years ago when they were just printing money left and right, and they still are. They're printing the money and they're sending it out to different countries. I saw how it worked. And of course, there's, when everybody had it, money was flowing and people were buying stuff, and there's certain things that you couldn't get because so many people were buying certain things. But at the same time, I realized how much of this stuff is really controlled and how much of a lie and how much this matrix is just not what they say it is. But in order to prepare and be where we need to be in these days and these times, we need to know and understand that it's going to be important for us to get everything in order. Check, like I said, say some of the subscriptions you have and you don't use it, you might have to put it away for a little while. Reevaluate the things that you pay monthly, like your insurance, your memberships. Maybe you have gym membership. Maybe you have 2 gym memberships. Maybe you just need to get 1. Maybe you have a family plan for something, but you're the only one that uses it and the family doesn't use it. Maybe you need to go back to an individual plan. There's so many different things that you need to really focus in on now because the pressure is being applied, you guys. And, they talk about all these things that may trigger people basically losing it and maybe cause a quote unquote civil war. And I hear it. A lot of it's geopolitical and political stuff they talk about. But honestly, if you want to talk about people losing it, it's going to come down to people's money not being right. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that now. I'm starting to see people getting irritated and desperate in ways where they, are really trying to maneuver out here and get things done. Now, being a child and a righteous child of the Most High is so key, and it's just a precious position to have in these times, in these perilous times. Like, we know that trouble's going to come, but we know that the Most High is there to provide for us. But at the same time, we have to make the practical steps and understand and discern the times that we're in to be prepared, to always be ahead of these things before they unfold and catch us off guard. So I say to you guys, take everything in step. Evaluate the things that you have. Budget if you can. Some people are good at budgeting, some people aren't. But if you can just be aware of what's coming in, what's going out, don't run from it because of your fear, but literally take these things head on. You could literally just take some time, like I said, even with the insurance or certain memberships or subscriptions that you have, you could block off a whole day or a half a day and make some phone calls and just try to see if I can move this here and move this here. You could literally save yourself maybe hundreds to even thousands of dollars a year just taking these things line by line and line item by line item and just going through them and seeing if you can renegotiate, move different services, move different providers and carriers, or eliminate certain things. And then that would just help you continue to go forward without as much pressure, without as much stress on you. It's crazy because what we're experiencing is really real. And I'm bringing this to you today because I've really noticed it's been turned up. It's been turned up in a way where I'm just like, sometimes I leave places, I pay for a meal or I went to the grocery store and I'm like, you know what? This is nuts. Like I'm used to certain things happening and I'm used to paying and things going high and certain things going low, but this is getting to the point where every time I make a purchase, I feel it. I feel it. Even when I believe I'm doing the right thing. So, I can't imagine what people are doing who are just out here just buying up anything and spending without thinking. And you have to make sure that, if it comes down to a sacrifice for a season, And I don't even know how long the season's going to last. Like I told you, I think this is just it's working itself up to a big climactic moment where people are going to be so desperate, overspent, debt way beyond over their head, where they have to just come up with something that they need to do. And that's unfortunate. But anyway, I just want to touch on this today. I hope that, maybe this triggered something in you to say, you know what, let me take some time and try to get ahead of this thing, or clean up some stuff in my life so I can get to where I need to be, to make sure that I'm not held at point. If that's not what I really mean, but getting to the point where the pressure is just so tight that they can do anything to me, because I have no choice. We don't want to be there. All praises to the Most High. This is Brother Elliot. And until the next time we talk, shalom.